All right.
Okay, so a small part of our business is also buying and selling horses or consigning clients' horses. Um, we find honesty always gets you further at the end of the day. You should really try to sell what you have as honestly as you can, because having a repeat customer down the road will benefit you more than trying to get more cash in your pocket right now. The thoroughbreds, we've tried a few of those. They are a little tricky because coming off the track, they don't tend to vet well. And we are in a day and age where everybody wants a pre-purchase exam. And unfortunately, we found that a lot of times a pre-purchase ends up with a veterinarian scaring the client because they might not be knowledgeable enough to dissect through the information and figure out what is a blemish versus what's actually going to impact that horse's ability to be suitable for the person. So we have had some sales not go through because a veterinarian has really scared the kid that needs a cross-rail pony away when it was really not necessary. We find that given our area, because we are in the middle of nowhere here, that a lot of people come 3-4 hours away that buy the higher dollar horses. But what we encourage is that they come and spend the night. Find a hotel, so if they like the horse well enough, they can come and ride it several times, and that helps encourage the sale, we find. Or if we have multiple horses listed at once, then they're more willing to drive. So if you have a dressage gelding and then there's something else in the barn you can also list, even if you're not really intending to sell that one, you can always say, oh, I have multiple for you to sit on. So they'll be more willing to drive out. It's nice because it's a little bit of extra cash here and there. It's not the primary focus. And then sometimes we get clients that just need a change, or their horse unfortunately wasn't suitable for them. And that's where, say, if they had been jumping and maybe they're burned out from jumping, we have the ability to say, okay, let's do some dressage tests on it on the polo field, get some video in a dressage ring, and now we can resell it as a first level dressage horse, and it might be a lot happier doing that job. And then the owner still gets some money back in their pocket, and now we have a happy client.
And you work off commission if you're selling a horse for someone else?
Yeah. So if the horse comes in to be sold, they're in a training board program, and then there's a commission fee because you spend a lot of time screening calls. Actually, that's a good point. We spend a lot of time talking to the people, and I've asked for video on their side. Where they want a video of the horse, I'll say, well, can you send me a video of you riding or your client riding to see if there's a suitable match there. And then I have discouraged people from coming because as much as I don't want to waste their time, my time is valuable as well.
Yeah.
And by the time you prep the horse and lunge it in the morning and bathe it, and you can easily spend 3-4 hours of your day trying to show this horse, so you want to try to make the fit as appropriate as possible. And there's a lot of horses I've actually sold first time because we've really tried to make that match be a correct one. So I guess we play matchmaker a little bit.
Yeah.
And then
Do you send them off on trial if they wanted to take them on trial?
actually, yes. We hold a check so that if anything were to happen, they sign an agreement that they will pay for the horse in full, or they get insurance on the horse. But we actually, for most horses, are willing to send them out on trial, which also helps get the deal done, where a lot of people I know are gun shy to do that, but that has really helped get some horses sold. And then, you just try to help them as much as you can. So I help them set up a vetting. I help them if they need help trailering. If it's a logistics bout, I don't know how to get the horse to Massachusetts. Sometimes I'm willing to drive the horse. It's just about making the process as easy as possible. It's like you become a car salesman almost. Like, you get the car, it's oil change, the new tires, whatever you need to get the deal done.
Right.
Because by the time the people get to you, sometimes they've looked at several horses, vetted several horses, they're discouraged because they've been looking for so long and spent so much money.
Right.
It's not necessarily a fun process when you're on the buying side because a lot of people are not honest.
Right.
So.
Yeah, it's very discouraging, even if you find a horse you want and then it doesn't vet well. You know, you've paid the $500, $600, $700, and you've already made the emotional commitment before you vetted it,
Yes.
and then you don't buy it. And then you go to the next horse. So yeah, it takes a little wind out of their sails, a little bit. How do you, on the buyer's end, how do you help your client not have that experience?
Again, I spend a lot of time on the phone up front, trying to ask a lot of questions, and I try to be very realistic about my client's riding ability. And because they are my clients, I usually have a good idea about what they do well and what they don't do well. So if I know that they have a hot seat and they make a horse up really easily, I'm not going to encourage a thoroughbred. I'm going to try to find something quieter, and I'm going to tell the when I'm on the phone with the person selling, I'm going to say that my client may do this, so that they could hopefully say, oh, that sounds like a good match, or no, this horse isn't appropriate.
No.
And then I try to go to the vettings or set them up with a vet that I feel is a vet that can explain themselves, so we don't get in the situation where they get a bad x-ray and then don't buy that horse when maybe that x-ray is of an area that's never going to impact the fact that some amateur woman just wants a walk-trot canter horse.
Right.
So,
I know it's vets, I think, often feel they're really responsible to tell them everything they see, but everything they see is not necessarily, you know, it's hard to interpret.
right.
You know, they may know that 80% of what they're seeing, it doesn't matter, but they feel like they have to bring that information out. And depending on how they do that, it really can light the client up, thinking, oh my God, this horse, how does he walk down the aisleway without breaking his leg, you know,
Right.
when he's out there actually doing his job every day. So,
And I really try to fight for my clients to get trials, so we don't buy a horse on one impression. Even if it's only for, say, 4 days. But if we can bring it here and see what its demeanor is like in the barn, and you know, does it ride the same here as it does? We had one woman, we found a horse in South Carolina for her that seemed quite appropriate, and it came up here in the indoor. I don't think it had ever been in an indoor, and it was in the winter when the snow was sliding off the roof, and that horse lost it. And what we thought was going to be a very lady-friendly horse was not, and thankfully we were able to send the horse back and figure that situation out. But that was just an example of what a horse seemed like in its environment in South Carolina, and the horse we got up here were not at all the same.
right. So, sure. Okay. All right.